This week on the Squatchers Lounge podcast, David and Jeff over at Oldie But Goodie, the Ohio GRASSMAN. And if I've learned anything about the dog man, that means that this guy's made out of grass. But you can be sure that we're going to have lots and lots of juicy news for you. Good stuff today, folks. And I'm going to start a Kickstarter fund to get my new favorite rapper shot into space. Ground control, get ready for a one-way blast-off. And now I turn it over to our host with the most. Something for Reverend Jeff Kelly.
Hey, little Squatchers. You know what time it is? It's time to get you some Squatcher Man's baby grundle bundle baby bath. That's right, people. Wash your dirty grundle today. Got a little stinky grundle? Boom! It's all clean. Brought to you by GRASSMAN. That's right. Got it, your dirty grundle. Get you some baby bundle grundle cleaner today. Folks, we're back at the Squatchers Lounge podcast, and I am your host, the Reverend Jeff Kelly, and over there is Dr. David Batdorf Esquire. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Actually, the Esquire is going to fit a little bit into this one, so we'll go from there.
Boy, we're going to get into a lot of crazy stuff, and tonight we're talking about the Ohio GRASSMAN. That's right. We're bringing you a brand new segment this season with Bigfoot in America. We're going to talk about all those crazy creatures from all over America. They all got a different name for them. The Woolly Booger, the Yahoo, the Woogie Boogie, all kind of names that are out there. We got to thank the Mountain Monster men. Fat Buck Update. Got to make sure that you'll watch us Monday night to get the Fat Buck Update from Monsters. Mountain Monsters. That's right. It's going to be starting this week again. But the GRASSMAN stuff is going to have to wait because we're going to talk about a little bit of news as we always do. That's right. Starting off the news tonight, we got Science Asks. Were cats domesticated more than once? David and I talk about, how many times have dogs been domesticated? Probably with each one of the human species. Wolves were probably domesticated into dogs, but that's for another chat because we're talking about cats. What do you think, David?
Well, so there was a study that most people are following that it was looking like, they assume that dogs and the generic wolf ancestor in North America or in Europe or wherever, all dogs were genetically kind of linked to South Asia, which is interesting. So the domestic dog that we know now really comes from one spot. However, the little kitty there's two distinct domesticated artifacts, and now they're going to have to go back and do that genetic testing that ruined the wolf dog thing for us, Look at this. Look at the kitties with a different eyeball. Kitty.
He's just a cute little booger.
And then it'll eat your face
Yeah, that's the problem with cats is they're really not even domesticated today. They just tolerate human presence. Well, I've yet to meet a cat that hasn't bitten its owner in such a way to draw blood and make me want to put it in a pillowcase and drop it in the incinerator.
So the great meme I saw was a dog can count to 7, knows at least 200 words and hundreds of commands, or the equivalent of a 3-year-old human. Cats give no fucks and are sick of your shit, equivalent to a 47-year-old human.
That's right. Cats can poop in a box. So, check it out. It's sciencemag.org. It's a great article. We got a lot of news to get through tonight. An incredibly rare white giraffe spotted in Tanzania. I got to tell you how special this is, folks. When I saw this, I immediately, before I even read the article, sent my boy Dr. David Batdorf Esquire a link to the white giraffe spotted in Tanzania. Of course, what do I get in return? About 2 days later, I get this link that says incredibly rare white giraffe spotted in Tanzania. So,
sometimes
absolutely fabulous. Tell us about it, David.
Well, we throw these links all over the place. It gets a little crazy. This is something that's so rare and amazing, and I hope that this young giraffe survives to adulthood, because this is the sort of thing that can become culturally iconic in Tanzania, and good for conservation. So let's watch this white giraffe grow up. It could be a big deal, folks.
Right. So the white spotted giraffe in Tanzania, I love it, dude. Mm-hmm. The albino things never really last very long.
Yeah, so we'll see. But this could be a really special thing if it grows to adult age.
Exactly. So check that one out at iflscience.com. Hey, study exposes the wackiest laws still on the books in all 50 states. It's a video and it does go through a whole lot of stuff, but let's just do the top few here. In Alabama, it's illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. Wow. Okay. Can totally get that one. In Connecticut, a pickle cannot be legally considered a pickle unless it bounces.
Ooh.
Yeah. In Maine, it's illegal to keep Christmas decorations up after January 14th. Okay.
Yeah. I see that.
What do you do at a church? Are they really Christmas decorations at a church? They're there all year. In Missouri, it's illegal to drive with an uncaged bear.
I would say that it's probably illegal everywhere, but it's good to have this on the books, people. It's case law. It's important.
And here's the important one. In Washington, the harassing of a Bigfoot or Sasquatch or other undiscovered subspecies is a felony punishable by a fine and or imprisonment. Is that true?
No.
No. It was an April Fool's joke that never actually got pushed through, correct?
Well, no. So there are some things on the books, and this is why, and I actually looked at the source. I mean, this is the Olivet Nazarene University. Like, you get your law degree here, and they're looking at these things that are funny, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know about this one. I've looked into this. I live in Washington. I've looked into this because I'm interested. So here we go, real quick. Going over the laws that actually exist that you can find, and the harassing Bigfoot or other undiscovered subspecies.
Because that's what we do in the woods every time you go out there to freaking Sasquatch, man.
That doesn't actually exist in here. Here we go. Whereas evidence indicated by possible existence in Skamania County, yada, 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 nocturne. There's a lot of whereases, legend, purported recent sightings and spore support this possibility, whereas the creature generically commonly known as Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, or giant hairy ape, and whereas publicly attendant upon such real or imagined sightings has resulted in an influx of scientific investigators as well as casual hunters, many of which armed with lethal weapons, and whereas the absence of specific laws covering the taking of specimens encourages laxity in the use of firearms and other deadly devices and poses a clear and present threat to the safety of well-being of persons living or traveling within the boundaries of Skamania County, as well as to the creatures themselves. Therefore, be it resolved that any premeditated, willful, and wanton slaying of such creatures shall be deemed a felony punishable by a fine to exceed $10,000 and or imprisonment. Okay, so all you have to do is actually look for like 5 more minutes, and this is why maybe you should find another place to get your law degree. Ordinance 1984, several years later, revising 1969, whereas evidence continues to accumulate indicating the possible existence within Skamania County of nocturnal primate variously described as an ape-like creature or subspecies of Homo sapiens. They actually spell Homo sapiens correctly in this one.
Wow.
Whereas legend purported recent sighting, whereas the creature is generally commonly known as all this publicly attended upon such real or imagined findings, other
real or imagined findings.
Yep. Where it doesn't matter because people are walking around there with weapons, so it's saying don't do that. Whereas the absence of specific national and state laws restricting the taking of specimens has created some dangerous state of affairs within this community regarding firearms or other deadly devices used to hunt the Yeti, and poses a clear present danger to the safety and well-being of persons traveling within the boundaries of this county, as well as to the giant hairy apes themselves. Whereas previous ordinance in 69, the slaying of such creature was punishable by felony, punishable by 5 years in prison, $10,000 fine, blah, 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 blah. It is hereby, that may have exceeded the jurisdictional authority of that board to the commissioners. Now, therefore, be it hereby, had a little issue there. Be it hereby ordained that the Board of County Commissioners, basically, it's a Bigfoot slaying not be a felony, punishable by 5 years in prison. It is hereby repealed, and instead of following sections enacted, basically, it's a misdemeanor if you do it without wanton will, and it's a A gross misdemeanor, $1,000 fine,
gross
$500
misdemeanor.
fine.
Okay, well, there's no difference in the punishment between a misdemeanor and a gross misdemeanor, so I'll take gross misdemeanor for $1,000 fine and 1129 in jail, please.
Oh, yep. 1 year in jail, $1,000 fine for premeditated slaying.
Hey, for premeditated slaying of a Bigfoot, you get 11 months, 29 days, and $1,000 fine.
Yeah, and so the slaying of Sasquatch, which is deemed a misdemeanor, which is just the oops, maybe hitting it with your car, $500 fine, up to 6 months in jail. Defense, the prosecution.
Oops, I ran over an animal that was too stupid not to run out in front of my car, so I get to go to jail for 6 months.
So they repealed the felony thing because they overstepped their jurisdictional bounds. Now, here's the interesting part. Section 3, in the defense, in the prosecution of trial of any accused Sasquatch killer, the fact that the actor is suffering from insane delusions, diminished capacity, or that the act was a product of a diseased mind shall not be a defense. So you cannot claim insanity to get out of this.
Nice. So you could take nutty Uncle Bob right out of the institute, take him out into the woods, and that's still not a defense.
That's still not a defense.
Everybody's going to jail for a dead Bigfoot in Washington.
That's right. I should actually roll up here a little bit because they do overstep another bound that I never saw that was repealed. So Section 4, human or anthropoid. This is important too. Should Skamania County Coroner determine any victim or creature to have been humanoid, the prosecuting attorney shall pursue the case under existing laws pertaining to homicide. Should the coroner determine that
it's murder in Skamania County.
Should the coroner determine that the victim have to been an anthropoid or ape-like creature, the prosecuting attorney shall proceed under the terms up in this ordinance, yada, yada, yada. So the one thing that I did gloss over here...
Shoot the shit out of a monkey, but if it turns out to be a human ancestor or relation, you're going to jail forever! Forever for killing a Bigfoot dude!
So I went to the crime and penalty because that was the important thing that I was refuting from the first one. But Section 1, Sasquatch Refuge. The Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, or giant hairy ape declared to be an endangered species of Skamania County and thereby hereby created a Sasquatch Refuge, the boundaries of which
it's an endangered species on their list and it's not even proven to exist.
Shall be coexistive with the boundaries of Skamania County. So it is in Skamania County an endangered species. So, wow. We were at 69.
Talk about a tree-hugging hippies making laws, bro.
84, and then so barely, just like kind of in a Me Too sense, there's the Whatcom County, which is the county that I live in. We're declaring Whatcom County a Sasquatch protection and refuge area, whereas legend purported recent findings and spores suggest Bigfoot may exist. This is very much similar.
So Whatcom County and Skamania County are refuge counties for Bigfoot. Can they get driver's licenses and vote there too?
We will take your Sasquatch refugees.
You're harassed Bigfoots.
Yeah, bring us your poor, you're tired, you're harassed Bigfoots.
We'll let them vote for Hillary Clinton too.
Yeah, whereas if such creatures exist, it is inadequately protected and in danger of death or injury, which is probably true. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Whatcom County Council that the Whatcom County is hereby declared a Sasquatch protection refuge, and all citizens are asked to be recognized by said status. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effective immediately. So,
you better stop Sasquatch hunting up in there because you are in direct violation of that law.
Indeed. So the other the other issue that comes up is that this language that they show, and I actually looked at the graphic. There is no this Washington State harassing of Bigfoot is a felony punishable by fine or imprisonment. That is not true. Taking a species illegally is basically the same as if there were.
Yeah, it's a misdemeanor. It's a poaching charge.
It's a poaching charge.
It's the same poaching charge. Killing a Bigfoot with a gun maliciously, whatever they're calling a gross misdemeanor. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is your 11-month, 29-day, $1,000 fine poaching charge. Yep. That's like maliciously going out and killing a bear for its hide, like being caught cutting the head and that front feet off of a bear and leaving everything else behind without a tag will get you 11 months, 29 days, and $1,000 fag. So you're that douchebag. Yep. But I mean,
So that's what this says, and it's funny. Like people argue it all the time without actually seeing the documents. So that's why I wanted to throw the documents up there, talk through them real quick, and
you can refer your friends to the Squatchers Lounge podcast because we have the legal documentation from our Dr. David Batdorf Esquire to prove it.
That is right, and so that resolution in 1992 in Whatcom County actually points back to a document that included a reference to that amendment in pre-study for land development and land use laws, which is actually one of the we do a really good job in this area of maintaining our wilderness.
Well, they shouldn't be logging in Whatcom County then at all either.
Well,
so that's direct harassment of the friggin'
the difference is that they give private logging land, they give DNR their land for contract logging, and then the rest is open national parks or protected areas, and protected areas can be added, based on yada yada yada.
Yeah, but
and probably including if they found a Sasquatch, they could declare it a protected area because they can move protected lines around based on sightings of other animals, etc.
If they declared the whole county though a Sasquatch refuge county, and that any harassing of that Sasquatch in that county is deemed to be 1129-day misdemeanor, then they shouldn't be allowing them to cut down vast swaths of trees
and
reducing the habitat of said refuge.
The difference between the ordinance in Skamania County and the resolution in Whatcom County is the resolution was passed, but the resolution then has to become an ordinance, right? And it never did. It just pushed it into this land use law and said that was good enough, which is fine. I mean, it's on the books. It's fun. It's fun to have. It's kind of
like the American of like the Affordable Care Act. We have to pass it to find out what's in it.
Exactly. So, and that has been amended. It's like a 350-page document, and it's been amended every year since '96.
God bless American hippies and their politics. All right, so
moving on. That took a long time. It was good. It was worthwhile.
Yes, because that comes up in discussion a lot. Now we have a place to point people. You know, we had this discussion. Go check it out on our show. We'll even put it into details. Hey, check out the Panda at the National Zoo. I don't know what the caption says because it's CNN Espanol, and I can't read Spanish anymore. Shame on me because I took it for years. But look at the panda playing in the snow. We showed you monkeys last week, so I figured we'd show you pandas. Storm of the decade just hit the Washington, D.C. area, people. I mean, we're not talking like 16 inches of snow. We're not even talking like 21 inches of snow. We're talking about 3 feet of snow on people that like crash when it just like somebody sneezes and there's a spit of water outside.
Yeah, we transferred Washington, D.C. to Minnesota, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, they're still clearing snow.
I'll tell you what to do. Be like the panda.
That's right. Play in the snow. Hope you had lots of provisions. Drink lots of beer. And we'll see you next week sometime. That's how long it's going to take for all that mess to get cleaned up. So God bless the Mideast right now there. The Mideast? Is that where that would be? I don't know what you would call that. God, am I on Anchorman? Am I all of a sudden Brick Tamlin? I don't know why we're yelling. Anyhow, on to the next one here. Poor Sarah the cheetah has passed away. Yes. Fastest land animal on the planet. And she croaks. Oh, look, we get to look at an ad. Isn't that just wonderful?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ads during your time.
Pop Science? Yeah, jackasses.
You owe us for that.
That's right. A cheetah named Sarah, who lived at the Cincinnati Zoo in Ohio, was euthanized this week at the age of 15. The zoo says it was due to her diminishing quality of life. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. Indeed, Sarah was on the older side for captive cheetahs, who on average to be 8 to 12 years old, according to the National Zoo. Now, 8 to 12 years old for a big cat is even old in the wild. Justin and I talk about this all the time. He's like, well, how old do you think deer are in this area? And I'm like, deer live to be 8 to 12 years old. An old deer is 10 years old, and you would shoot the shit out of him because you don't want him breeding no more. Okay? But an 8 to 12-year-old cheetah in the wild is an older cheetah. They don't live to be 40 years old like parrots do. I mean, these animals are quick and furious. Their hearts beat so fast, they die off fast.
Well, and just that's what part of the problems and why certain, you think of like the apes, like chimpanzees and things that are living to like 40, 45 years old, and elephants live to be like 80 or whatever.
But that's why cats have 6 kits versus one birth on the 8.
And to ensure it's to ensure that life goes on, but there's a quick turning around, and that's why you have litters every year or two, and not like 6 to 8 years apart, like like elephants and primates and
God, elephants gestate for nearly 2 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then drop like 140-pound baby. Woohoo!
But R.I.P. Too fast to live, too young to die.
That's right. So we won't be seeing Sarah the cheetah at the Ohio Zoo anymore. But, hey, we got to euthanize them because their quality of life was going down. I don't know how that works out. I think we should probably let them die in peace, but not pain. Yeah. If they're in a whole lot of pain, then it might have been time to go. I guess
in the wild, you're gonna starve to death if you're not in top shelf.
Exactly, because nobody's giving you their food.
Yep.
Quick note, Melba Ketchum asks for more of the ramblings of a schizophrenic Brit. Yep, Richard Allen got it right. She's asking for more money on this GoFundMe thing so that they can screen more Bigfoot material and create more Bigfoot genomes. But she wants you to pay the money this time, but she wants you to pay for her documentary. Oh, my God. The Bigfoot Decoded is already up to $2,000, people. And this is on GoFundMe. She already has that money. Okay, this isn't like Kickstarter where she doesn't get the money if it doesn't fund. No, this broad is getting this cash anytime she wants it just by withdrawing it from that account. That's how GoFundMe works. So she wants like some $95,000 to make Bigfoot Decoded. These professional friggin' production houses can make a show for $25K, but not Melba. No. She wants $95K and you to pay for it all. I'm going to get off the Melba thing, but please, if y'all are watching this and you're fans of mine, don't give this fraud a penny of your money.
Even to negotiate your samples. Don't. Don't.
Just send them to me and I'll get them done right. Just make sure the chain of custody is done properly.
Anyway.
Bigfoot research news. Bobo Fay, that's right. James Bobo Fay was on Coast to Coast, and they had an interview that was done. Dude, it was a good interview. Sit down and listen to Bobo. Talks about Bigfoot. He's the typical Bobo. He's a surfer dude. I mean, that's who he is. I don't know personally. I haven't heard anything, but Bobo looks sick to me. He's lost a whole lot of weight over the last season, and I hope he's not. Maybe they just got him working on the treadmill a whole lot more, but Bobo actually looks a little sick to me. So, let's pray that Bobo's okay. I don't know, but listen to the interview and find out. Michigan Wolverines spotted for the first time in 200 years. Our buddy Jim Sherman is the king of Michigan Bigfoot audio out there. I mean, that dude has more Bigfoot audio than anybody else probably on the planet. And that includes Ron Moorhead, because I don't believe that crap's real. That's right, I said. But this is neat. Wolverines do wander vast areas looking for a mate. If they can't find a mate locally, if she keeps chasing them off, or there's just too many males around, a Wolverine will pack up his sack, pun intended, and run the hell as far away as he can. We actually have Wolverines. There's like 1 or 2 Wolverines that are spotted here in the Sierras like every 5 years, and they have no clue where they come from, no clue where they go. It's just neat.
Yeah, well, this is one of those creatures that we know exists. We see it. We see signs. We see spore, but we never see the creature. So we actually probably see more Sasquatch than Wolverine.
Yeah, because they mostly live underground in burrows. And they come out at night mostly as well. So anyhow, woman accidentally joins a search party looking for herself. A missing woman on vacation in Iceland managed to unwittingly join a search party looking for herself. The Toronto Sun reports that a tourist group traveling by bus to the volcanic I can't pronounce that word, canyon made a pit stop near the canyon park. The woman in question went inside to freshen up and change her clothes at the rest stop. When she came back, her busmates didn't recognize her. Word spread among the group of a missing passenger, and the woman didn't recognize the description of herself. Next thing you know, a 50-person search party was canvassing the area, and the Coast Guard was mobilizing to deploy a search party of its own. At 3 a.m., some genius in the group finally figured out that the missing woman was actually in the search party, albeit in different clothes, and the search was called off. I mean, really? No? Are you? Hi, my name's Jenna. Okay, Jenna, we're looking for a woman named Jenna. I mean, really? No.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Jenna running around the park screaming, Jenna. Jenna. You know, they were screaming her name. They had to have been. If they didn't, they were idiots. Have you seen this woman? No.
Nope.
Oh
no, that's me. That's me. Oh.
They showed her the picture. She didn't recognize herself. Oh, anyhow, you can find this one at deathandtaxesmag.com. And that's not a hoax. That's actually all. State Trooper. I've seen Bigfoots, and they have language. State Trooper, that's right. Aha. The man who provided a full name but chose to remain anonymous, and I wonder why, told Cryptozoology News that the encounters have been happening since 2009 in a remote area in the North Cascade Mountains. Sometimes it's just 5 to 10 minutes. Other times they stay for hours, he said. I leave them food and they visit. I mean, from apples to carrots to beef jerky, cookies and candy bars. The ex-law enforcement officer claims that the creatures eat it all and leave him alone. I mean, all right, where's the audio? Where's the video? You're a trained investigator, and all we get... I'm telling you, I swear it in court. I swear it in court. Okay. Hillbilly, get us a little evidence. Maybe we'll believe you.
Yeah. So, but this is the the interesting thing is this is in the North Cascades, which is where I live. We should try to wait. So
it sounds similar to Native American and an Asian mix.
Native American Salish. What? That would be the appropriate terminology for the folks that live up that were the indigenous peoples in this area. So that's interesting, but inconclusive given the source.
I think he's just meeting hairy Indians and calling them Sasquatch. I don't know. Check this one out at Hideth. I don't know. Look at the thing in the top.
Just look at the thing.
That's right. Humans lived in the Arctic 10,000 years earlier than we thought. We love finding these articles where, you know, we're finding out more things about our species as we move around the world. That's one of our things about the Bigfoot around the world is we get to explore that green belt where if humans were leaving Africa and traveling around this green belt and became different things, why weren't other things leaving Africa at the same friggin' time, traveling the same green belts and becoming different things? Well, we find here now that it may seem that in a desolate landscape to us, but the Arctic can offer a way of life, and if you know where to look, you can exploit the resources. Mammoths lived there clear up until the time that mammoths disappeared from the planet.
Oh, exactly. Well, and mammoths not being the optimal food. There's other food sources in the Arctic as well, and rabbits, and it's easier to make a living in the cold than it is in the desert, and we still populate the desert in you know.
That's because air conditioning was in 1964 in North Carolina.
Yeah, so we moved back into the desert apparently. No, but there's more resources available in Siberia than there is in most parts of Nevada and Arizona. Let's put it that way. So, not to say that there's not resources there, but that's how it works. And so, us and the way that we think that migration happened, this puts people up there 10,000 years earlier than we thought, which is 20,000 years ago, which is before a lot of the invents, and puts the hunter-gatherers there about the same time as agriculture starts happening, and you know, people were already up there and carving, and that's really cool to know because we didn't think that was going to be the case.
Exactly. So, you know, check it out. Of course, IFL Science, and we do. This chick is some crazy Brit who just sits around her apartment, finds this stuff and blogs about it, and is making a killing across
yeah.
the ad revenue. I mean, I can't imagine.
23
23 million likes on Facebook, 185,000 followers on Twitter, 500,000 followers on Google Plus, and God only knows what they have on YouTube. No, they don't have anything on YouTube.
Yeah, haha. Basically, well, she was going to do this YouTube thing like shortly. I saw her like start and like, no, that's too much. But yeah, talk about monster blogger, the IFL Science. It is just basically one person, and it is a lot of clickbait. So be careful.
But we do find a lot of cool stuff coming out of there, so it does become
she does vet at least 20% of her articles.
Right, at least 20%. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you can check this one out. ChimpSanctuaryNW.org. Exactly who's in charge when we're keeping chimps? I mean, at first you think you're the human. You've got the great big brain, and you have the electric cattle prod to keep them in line. But why exactly do you need that cattle prod? Because that chimpanzee on a good day is going to show you if he's actually the one.
Yeah. What is the quote there? Like, on a good day, they graciously allow us into their world as playmates, but on a bad day, we are, basically, we are unwilling participants, usually the victim in their constant,
unfolding social.
Yeah, basically, we have this great, big, amazing brain, and the chimps are really not impressed.
Yeah, look at this. This dude right there could give a freak about your big brain because he's got them big teeth. And he's strong enough to rip your arm off and beat you to death with it.
So, but the interesting thing is, like, there's a lot of amicable times, and they like to play with you. But when they don't, there is no recourse aside from the fence. We can build a fence, but that doesn't leave us in charge of the situation. If we were on the other side of that fence,
exactly. So
we can limit the amount of space they have to be in charge. But this is a really great read and a really great blog. And if you guys are interested in Primate Sanctuary, this Cleellum group does a great job. They're expanding as they're sending chimps away from research labs, and they need new homes for them. This is a place that actually does a pretty good job of just giving them, and then we're talking about that quality of life. They're not trying to train them to go back into the wild. That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. But to allow them to be chimpanzees and allow them to roam and to have cognitive stimulation and be happy and be in groups and not putting a bunch of males together and letting them not putting them in the octagon for our amusements or something like that. It's a good program, and they have really awesome blogs and really good insight into what it's like living with the apes.
If these labs that were in these pharmaceutical laboratories could actually speak and tell you the kind of atrocities that were actually done upon them in the name of advancing science of human pharmaceuticals, you would cry. These poor things were the guinea pigs that humans were not. And you have them to thank for every vaccine that's probably ever been created. It was all tested on these boys first. But what you won't understand is by the time they got it right, they got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot. These poor guys are the ones who take the brunt of all of that bullshit. At least now it's time that we stop all that because they're way too smart. I mean, these are our cousins that can't speak. These are your little retarded cousin Jimmy who can't speak for himself. That's really who this is. That poor guy right there tells a story just on his face. So, save a sanctuary chimp if you can. There, I said it.
There. Yeah.
And sadly, we have to say goodbye to fish. No, I don't mean one of Wes Lossner's fish tank buddies. Abe Vigoda has finally passed away at age 94. This is not a hoax. I grew up with Abe in my household. If it wasn't Barney Miller, it was fish. It was on my household 5 nights a week, if not 7 nights a week, if they could find it. Twice a day. I'm sure it was 3 times a day. This man's face I grew up with. And the ears. The ears are so scary. They've always scared me, and the eyebrows. Now that I'm getting older, I have the Abe Vigoda eyebrows, and I'm not sure I like that.
I'm working on the Abe ears. There you go.
Yeah. You get the ears, I get the eyebrows, and maybe we can scare the hell out of your kid by the time you're 16. So sadly, if you can check that out, TMZ.com, Fish has finally kicked the button. Dude, he was awesome in The Godfather Part 2. I mean, they're just, he looked at that face. Everybody knows Abe. Anyhow, let's finally get on to what David's been waiting for in the news. Rapper B.O.B. is that battery-operated boyfriend? I don't know. Insists the earth is flat. Take that, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Well, I got news for you, shitwad. Just because you say it doesn't mean... Hey, I'm a virgin. I said it, so it's true, right? I've got 2 kids, but I'm a virgin. It doesn't matter. So what? Tell me, what's going on here, David?
What in the actual fuck? So, I mean, there's... We use this as a colloquial term for people who are like the non-science or the science deniers, the flat earthers. But there's actually people out there. There is a conspiracy theory out there, and we all love conspiracy theories, especially in the Bigfoot field. There's a conspiracy theory out there that the earth is actually flat. And it was people trying to convince us of something else, a control of science, that we are correct, that convinced us in this form of control, and this conspiracy has been going on for 5 centuries-ish. So anyway, the cities in the background are approximately 16 miles apart. Where is the curve? Please explain this. Well, I actually can see a pretty concise curve, but that could just be the aperture of the cell phone camera that he's using. And here we are. Y'all be like, you're not high enough to see the curve. Keep going. No matter how high in elevation you are, the horizon is always eye level. Sorry, cadets. I didn't want to believe it either. And then he's actually calling out Neil deGrasse Tyson in some songs now. Flat Earth is a problem only when people in charge think that way. No law stops you from regressively basking in it. I do love Neil deGrasse Tyson, by the way. And at Bob, dude, to be clear, 5 centuries regressed in your reasoning doesn't mean we can't all still like your music. But just as the amazing refutations that come out, as always, I just would like to mention to you all that we do have these feelings where we could be right, or the government is having a conspiracy, or wait, what the hell is that? Oh, that's computer graphics. That's not real. That's CGI. That's this, that's that. I say, at this moment, that we need to shoot B.O.B. into space, one way, to show him how high you have to be to see the curvature of the Earth and all the amazing things that our planet has to offer. The air, the oxygen with the nitrogen, the electricity, everything. It's amazing. So why, in God's name, would people still believe in this day and age, 5 centuries after we proved it to be wrong, that the Earth is not round? Just blows my mind. Sorry, that's it. That's all. Shooting this dude into space to show him what's up, not to return. Good night, folks.
Because, we can look up in the sky and see that the moon is flat, right?
You basically have to ignore every amount of physics and every amount of everything else. The sun is flat.
Right.
All the two-dimensionality around us boggles the mind. When
baseball over there is flat, right?
Yeah, pretty much when they looked at the moon and they looked at the sun, and then they started looking
like a big pizza pie.
Started looking at the stars and at the planets, and they said, "Well, how can our planet be the only flat thing?" And that was the end of it. And that was 5 centuries ago.
Exactly.
And then they started asking, "Why is everything round?" And then they answered that question too.
Well, because we're hanging out in space and everything just kind of gets like when you drop a drop of water in the middle of the friggin' air, is it flat? No, it's round. That's why the Earth is round. It's called gravity.
It's called gravity, and it has to do with a lot of very complex things that we're only beginning to understand. But There are people out there. These are the
According
same
to
people.
Matthew McConaughey, gravity is really important for communication between bookshelves and pocket watches.
Oh, I just saw maybe that Deepak Chopra is saying the bacteria read your thoughts.
Oh, nice.
So just be careful about what you believe out there, folks. And when people tell you that it's a felony to shoot a Bigfoot in Washington State, and that's a law on the books, look at the law. Just take a step back. Doing your research
11
doesn't
months,
make
29 days, $1,000 fine. It's poaching, people.
doing your research does not make you an expert. It makes you a pseudo-expert.
Informed. Yeah, it makes you informed.
a pseudoscientist or a quasi-theorist or a quasi-scientist. It makes you all of those things, but it does not make you an expert, and so the food babe can suck on my GMO.
But it does make you a know-it-all jackwagon, so enjoy that one, too. Fresh from the Dr. David Batdorf Esquire. That's right. Hey, let's get a little Kwazii. It's time to get a little Kwazii on us. I hate it when I get a little Kwazii on me. Sometimes I got to brush it off. And now, Kwazii Theories from a Kwazii Scientist with your host, Dean Cooper.
The subject of Sasquatch using portals has lately returned to the Squatcher zones. Having given this much thought, and having discussed this a bit with some of my fellow lounge members, I will expound a bit further on this subject, mainly in the form of questions. We will assume, as a working hypothesis, that, according to theoretical physicists, the universe may well be actually a multiverse, with multiple individual universes existing alongside ours in parallel dimensions, with the physical laws of those universes differing substantially from ours. I will ignore the theories of multiple timelines for this dissertation. Now, if some aliens in another universe figure out how to open a portal to our universe, there are some serious problems they face. Firstly, they have to be able to identify a universe that has laws identical to ours, or they will die when crossing the portal, or be transformed into gods know what. Secondly, they must be able to identify a planet that is essentially the same atmospheric composition as ours, nearly the same gravity, and maybe even be able to detect that there is no, say, T-Rex equivalent that has an ability to detect the opening of a portal. In other words, they have to have an extremely high level of technology and the level of civilization that implies to safely open a portal and pass through with a reasonable expectation of getting back home alive and well. That means they must be highly intelligent. The argument that these aliens are portaling about from within our own universe has the same flaw as my second point. Here's the glitch. None of the reports of anything coming and going through portals describe the entities involved as exhibiting any technology at all. At least not the Sasquatch-related reports anyways. This pretty much leaves what we have come to term woo as the preferred method of portaling about, not counting it all being fantasy and lies. If they are real, these portals must then be some sort of psychic power, something inducing an illusion in the minds of the observers. As I pointed out in my first Kwazii theory on this subject, almost all cultures that have much of a history have folk legends of very similar occurrences and entities, from the fairies, gnomes, and elves of the Celtic peoples to the boots of India and the jinn of Islam. Many Irish laddie and lassie have been led into the fairy mountain to come back with wondrous tales. I will include a small bibliography of some of the books I think one should read to get a picture of where my thinking on this subject comes from when I post the text of this rant on my blog. That blog is at bhaidin.com. That's BHAIDIN.com.
Well, there you have it. Kwazii thoughts from a Kwazii scientist. Hey, it's time to get our update on camping from our buddy Chevin.
Camping tips for stupids. Tip number 4. Chocolate, not chocolate. Chocolate, not chocolate. Chocolate, not chocolate. Chocolate, not chocolate. Are you starting to see my point? Just because it's press formed, has what looks like organic nuts and fruits in it,
doesn't mean you can just pick it off the ground and eat it. Nature doesn't make organic chocolate trail bars for you guys. It's either bear shit, deer shit, or your drunken neighbor camper's shit. Don't be stupid and eat the shit you find in the forest. I actually had to tell a dude this many years ago. And yes, pot was involved. If you like this video and want more, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, Life and Times of JCM. No, it's not that long of a name, Jeff. There were tons of JCMs on YouTube when I searched it, and I needed to have something that stood out from them, okay? Deal with it. Needed to be unique. I'm Jesus Christ of Monterey Bay. Like and subscribe. This has been Camping Tips for Stupids, and may the Squatch be with you.
Squatch is blessing you tonight, Kevin. Oh my goodness, brother, that was fantastic. Hey, it's time to give the shout-outs out into the chat room. Let's see who's hanging out tonight. I see there's a Mark Hansen out there, Squatchy Inc., your old pal Wes. Check out everything at weslosner.com. Stuff is on sale. Let's see who else is out there. Simon Fayers, and I believe they're over in the UK, man. So thanks for hanging out late night with us tonight, even though it's like 2 in the afternoon for us here. Let's see who else is flipping around. Dean Cooper, of course, your Kwazii scientist. We love his stuff. It keeps us going. Bo Armigio. No, I'm probably spelling that all wrong, but hey, dude, thanks for hanging out tonight. The Life and Times of JCM. You know, Jesus Christ of Monterey Bay. We just heard our camping tips from stupids. That's right. Raton Jr., 4 p.m. CST. That's right. That's what time we started, about 5 minutes after. That's when I got in there and told everybody we were hanging out. So they were there all pre-show. Rod Dupree's hanging out with us this afternoon. Jan Frockhord. Hey, dude. You've got to be hanging out from somewhere near Syria, I would bet. You're not in one of them stupid towns like London. Thanks for hanging out in the UK with us tonight. Dick Jones. That's not his real name, but it's still funny. How you doing, Dick? Dave Jackson. Let's see here. Indy Gem Lady. Hey, Indy Gem Lady's hanging out with us today. Let's see. Wheelman Stan. That's right. Jason Wagner. Yeti's uncle. Let's see. Brandy Baxter. These are a lot of new names that are coming up with us. Cameron Young. Hey, you doing, buddy? Glad to see that you're out there with us today. And that appears to be about the list. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, post it. I missed you, and I'll get you on the second call. Wow, there's a lot of friggin' names going on in the chat room. And that's what it's about. We've been really wanting to get a chat room for you guys. You guys wanted the chat room. There it is. You watch the live show. You actually get a chat room. Now we're going to be talking just a little bit. Well, actually, we're going to talk for a while about it. I don't care if the show runs long. It's a daytime show tonight. Today, we're going to be talking about the Ohio Grassman. Now, according to our Fat Buck update, Mountain Monsters Ohio Grassman facts, he's a cousin of the Sasquatch. He stands 9 feet tall and 1,000 pounds. Intelligent creature, graceful, terrifying growl, warns hunter to leave by throwing rocks from a distance. Well, I don't know how that sounds like a cousin of a Sasquatch. It sounds just like a Sasquatch to me, but hey, they got to make up their show, so there's your Fat Buck update. Check us out Monday night for Bigfoot Entertainment Weekly, where we give you the actual Fat Buck update to find out whether a Bigfoot mind screwed him this week or he fell in a creek. Because that seems to be about the two things that happened before Fat Buck.
Always a good time.
Oh, look, I'm a fat guy, but Buck is just hard to be big. And after 4 seasons, bro, hit your fat ass on the treadmill, bro. You'll do a whole lot better out there in the woods, I promise. And I like Mountain Monsters. What they're doing is ridiculous. It's all in, of course. And tonight's cover picture actually shows their first experience with the Grassman, and I have see that. Yeah, that's their excuse for a Grassman. Now, it was a freeze frame off of the video. Why is everything else in focus, but the Grassman is digitized? meadow grass. That's what they're thinking this guy makes his nests out of, and that's why they call him Grassman. You know, you're going to make up stupid shit like this and you're going to laugh at you. I don't have any choice.
This is one of those pixelated things that never really, like, it never materialized as anything to me aside from a dark splotch around some deadfall. Because if you look at the actual sticks, the thing that's back there, unless it's the very top of the head, which is I think what they were purporting, is really close, but you can also see the leaf litter. So it's basically got to be like doing an army crawl on the ground, but you can't see anything else. So if the person who was taking this photograph stood up, you could see the rest of the creature.
They just want you to watch him build a trap and then watch the creature get out of the trap. Now, the last people on the show, they were chasing.
Hey, Jeffrey, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's something going on with your audio where it's popping really hard and can't hear you very well.
Okay, well, stall for about 10 seconds.
Was stall. So for me to talk about the Grassman, I always bring it back to the fact that why would they have called this the Ohio Grassman? And Jeff alluded to it earlier. I don't know if you could hear, but basically the idea is that they were making these grass structures, not necessarily anything that differentiates them in any way from the Sasquatch, but the fact that they're making these grass structures to sleep in is why they're calling them the Ohio Grassman. So is it a cousin? Is it actually, like, is there any reasonable split from primate A to primate B, or is it the behavior why we're calling them the Grassman versus like the Dogman, etc.? We're having some technical difficulties with Jeff's audio here again. So the really interesting thing, and Jeff has some great stuff to share with you guys, and links. But we have all this Ohio Bigfoot stuff out there. We have the Ohio Howls. We have the Ohio, Bigfoot Conference. We have this is a hot spot. And so why then do we have this Grassman that people separate, say it's a cousin, it's something different, it's something separate? And for my ideas, all kind of boil down to that this is a behavioral difference based on the environment that they would possibly live in, that makes a different kind of shelter than you would otherwise. And there's other people that have theorized this before, but it goes back to that when Bigfoot got really popular, we lost a lot of our control in reality, and people started splitting this off into this, that, and the other. Was the Grassman made out of grass? No. Is it a separate species? Probably not. But what about the Dogman? Is it the Dogman? Is it related to a dog? Is it the same thing? Or does it make a sound or have a behavior like a dog? And that's why it translates somehow into Dogman over the course of time. Those are the interesting anthropological questions I like to ask. And unfortunately, because of our technical difficulties, I'm going to leave my thoughts there on the Grassman. Maybe we'll revisit this when we go through these Bigfoots around America and try to figure out what's going on with the audio. So with that, I give you my thoughts, and the Reverend is down for the count. So we'll take you out like we always do about this time.